Hey there, I recently dove deep into the realm of configuring web app settings in Microsoft Azure, and I thought I'd share some insights with you. Azure has got so many powerful tools for web application management, and setting them up properly can be a game changer for ensuring your app's high performance and security. Let's start with why it's important to configure your web app settings properly in Azure. When you host your application in Azure, you are not just choosing a host, you are picking a partner that's going to be integral to your application's success. With the right settings, which I'll cover throughout this conversation, you can optimize every aspect of your application, from performance to security to reliability. This means you can offer a smoother, safer, and more engaging experience for both you and your users. As a senior cloud architect, I have seen and experienced the transformation in the application performance and security when web app settings are configured properly. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of what makes for effective configurations and why we should care so closely about them, shall we? To configure a web app in Azure, you'd first start by choosing the right type and size of the web app and the kind of hosting option that aligns with your traffic patterns, which brings us to our first vital point, and that's understanding your traffic needs. Different types of hosting options like basic, standard, or premium plans all have their unique benefits and trade-offs, depending on whether you need high availability and scalability. Now, let's consider the essential settings: DNS, SSL TLS, and custom domains. DNS is Azure's way of directing traffic to your application, and you need to ensure that your DNS records are set up correctly to point users directly to your Azure-hosted app. SSL TLS is non-negotiable today. It's our way of securing communications with a secure connection between users and websites. Getting this right should be a top priority, and Azure gives you some fantastic tools for setting this up that we'll touch on later. Custom domains are your visual and branding cue, and Azure lets you easily manage them through custom domain management services, ensuring consistency and familiarity for your users. The way settings can affect everything from a single button click on your app to the security measures in place to protect against DDoS attacks. These are the nuances and areas I'm going to walk through in detail. Moving to application settings, performance configurations are critical, and Azure provides tools like Azure Application Insights to gauge where your app might be experiencing. We'll dig into how setting the right options can make a performance impact significant and can identify potential bottlenecks before they become real issues. Azure App Services integrates seamlessly with other Azure services, so when we discuss integration, I'll talk about how a function as a resource, like Microsoft Cognitive Services, can be invoked without the user even noticing, all while maintaining a reliable backend for your app. When we're talking about scaling up or down, Azure provides the flexibility of autoscaling that responds to the demands of your app in real time, crucial for handling busy periods efficiently without human intervention, which is an absolute must for keeping both running costs and response times optimal. Now, let's discuss managing traffic via Azure Front Door Service to manage web traffic with a robust caching strategy, a technique I've found to immensely improve the user experience. This leads us to the concept of environment replication settings. Whether you are developing an MSI or deploying across multiple geographies, ensuring consistency across these settings is key. I also want to stress the importance of understanding and applying security best practices using Azure's Application Gateway or WAF for protecting your web apps from common threats. And of course, with all these settings in place, documentation is your friend. Azure Resource. Manager templates and scripts will help you maintain consistency and allow you to document what has been set and why, which makes your job easier when you need to replicate this experience across your enterprise. In the next part of our journey, we'll take a closer look at advanced settings like autoscale rules and the role of Azure's performance monitor to preemptively detect and react to performance dips that could hint at the need for scaling. As with any enterprise-grade service, the devil's in the details. We'll explore best practices for enterprise features, including how to leverage Azure App Service Plan and Service Mode, and even dig into custom domains for organizations that have strict naming policies. Of course, nothing's set in stone, and troubleshooting is going to be a big topic too. We're talking Azure Cloud Explorer, diagnostics, and monitoring all the way to Azure Insights and even custom alert rules. I'll guide you through setting these up and ensuring they really make a difference when needed. Finally, I'd like to share some case studies, real-world deployments I've been a part of, where these settings were a key factor in our deployment designs. We'll look at best practice deployment patterns, containerization tactics, and how we utilized CI/CD from Azure DevOps in our pipelines to ensure rapid, reliable delivery of our applications. What it all comes down to is that the intricacies of web app settings in Microsoft Azure are vast and varied, but understanding their depth and applying them strategically can provide you with a robust, performant, secure, and manageable web experience for your users and yourself. With this knowledge, we are not just setting things up for the here and now, but we are also ensuring that our setup is future-proof and scalable for what comes next. It's about creating an environment where our apps can be resilient, agile, and reliable. I'm eager to hear about your experiences and share knowledge, whether it's something you're currently configuring or something you've set up before and wish you'd done differently. For a quick and dirty summary, when you configure your web app settings in Azure, consider the traffic you are expecting, the security risks at hand, and the need for scalability, all while documenting your current settings for ease of replication and consistency across your enterprise. Whenever trouble arises, utilize Azure's monitoring tools and dig into the logs with your Azure Monitor. This will be the backbone of troubleshooting and continuous improvement in your Azure-hosted web apps. And my take on it? The best practices for configuring your web app settings in Azure are a mix of solid foundational knowledge, staying up to date with Azure updates and recommendations, testing various configurations, and getting a feel for what different settings can do for your performance and scalability goals. Remember, when you set your web app in Azure, don't just think about a quick deployment, but about building a solid web presence that stands up as a beacon of resilience and performance in the cloud. Keep this knowledge in your toolbox, and the next time you spin up an instance of a web app in Azure, do it with this guide in the back of your mind. Let's always aim for the best, where we configure our Azure web apps not just to function but to excel, to innovate, and to bring value to the fore. So as I wrap up sharing how to configure web app settings in Azure, remember to visit neeraj.qzz.io and subscribe to TechLab, where we continue to bring insights right into your doorstep. Catch you on the flip side, and here's to creating web applications that don't just meet expectations, they exceed them. And with that, I hope I've shared with you a comprehensive guide on configuring web app settings in Microsoft Azure. Don't stop learning and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the cloud. Until next time, happy configuring.